And welcome everyone to Black Twitch League Week 3, Day 1. RareAdam alongside I'm Haji here with our first matchup of the day. Barber's Fanclub versus Team Ishtar here. Barber's Fanclub looking to continue their perfect record in matches thus far at 2-0. While Team Ishtar looking for actually their first game win overall. They have started the season off 0-2 in matches, 0-4 in games. And Haji, both of these teams are looking pretty poised to try and take down each other here, and we're already into draft with game one.
Yeah, you could go one of two ways. You could either get that real hunger, desire for that first win, or you can end up kind of collapsing a bit. And I'm hoping that it's the former here, because you never want a team to really just like kind of collapse and just give up. So I'm really hoping for Team Ishtar here. I'll always love the underdogs. So I'm putting some hope and desire on them for this game.
Yeah, we'll see what the underdog story will be today, if there is one at all. But Barber's Fanclub, of course, coming in as one of the top teams. They are missing a ban, however, as they are using an E-sub in the mid lane here. Is going to be, of course, a lineup of Pixel Wolf, Bio, Inai, Watoted, and Rainbow Tails versus the side of Team Ishtar with Tycoon, Vaperto, Face to the Wind, Frostbite, and Chicken the Wing. But thus far, going to be the hover over the Zeri and locked in as well. Zeri recently got some nerfs on patch 12.5b here, taking her a little bit out of power here, but the quick replies here from Team Ishtar, the Hecarim and the Kog'Maw, interesting pickups for the first couple of picks here.
Yeah, definitely. Hecarim is one of those champions that kind of pushes out a lot of other junglers. They're definitely a unique jungler in that fact, and I'm a big fan of the early pickup here. Here for Kog'Maw definitely as well. I think being able or desiring to try to match that scaling Zeri provides you. Zeri is a unique champion where she doesn't scale super hard just purely because of like I'm gonna delete you as much as you're never gonna touch me. If I play this, correctly or to optimally. So I really like the Kog'Maw match into it. Extra range, lots of damage. I've been hoping to see it as an answer into Jinx possibly, but I love that it's picked up here just in general, regardless.
Yes, but of course, the answer is going to be the Lee Sin and the Riven picked up. So Bio, very likely going to be taking that Lee Sin into the jungle there. Has shown confidence on that in past seasons. Of note, Bio is listed as officially as a substitution in place of Shifo, but Bio has played in past seasons and has done quite well for themselves, whereas the Riven coming through for Watoted has been one of their pocket picks throughout the season. Hasn't really been contested too much either, so gonna be playing that champion once again. But the answer from Tygoon, gonna be that Fiora, and we've seen some great things out of Tygoon thus far this season. Has been one of the shining lights on the side of Team Ishtar, usually on these more aggressive bruisers. So in your opinion, Riven versus Fiora, it can be quite an explosive matchup.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it's one of those incredibly volatile matchups. Specifically, Fiora into Riven is one of those that's just hugely dependent on skill, but also a bit of luck too. Specifically, everything is down to that riposte from Fiora and whether or not she's going to land it on a correct ability, and it's up to Riven to try to kind of fake her out a little bit. And almost never really use that Q3 or even W until you see that riposte come out, and trying to force that as much as you can. Otherwise, if you get that riposte out and it does stun you, you are going to end up losing that fight and that trade pretty heavily.
Yeah, so with the ADC locked in, ADCs we hope locked in here. Going to be lots of support bans coming through, and a couple of mid lane bans as well. At least the Corki is banned away from Face the Wind. The Nautilus is going to get locked in as well. Nautilus, one of those champions that does really well into Zeri because of the point and click capabilities that they have.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, Nautilus has kind of become one of those champions that people are just instant picking into Zeri. You feel kind of forced to, because you need some sort of that instant, like you said, point and click CC. And otherwise, you're just going to be having a not so fun time trying to chase down a Zeri.
And I mean, with the Lee Sin as well, you have the kick available if you were to pick that up against the Zeri. There are other options like the Vi you can pick up against the Zeri as well, but it was the Hecarim that was opted into here. But Barber's Fan Club going to be rounding out their draft here at least. So we think with the Akali and the Thresh hover for now, so Thresh going to give you a little bit more safety if you are that Zeri. Going to get locked in. It's not quite, the Yumi Zeri that we've seen pop up a couple of times, the Janna Zeri, but it will be the Thresh, who does have a shield, so you can get a little bit of that movement speed. Not really the main point of it, but the Galio was that last pick there into the mid lane. Akali going to have a little bit of a tougher time into that matchup.
Yeah, it's not going to be a super explosive one, unfortunately for the Akali. Galio's able to kind of neutralize it a bit, and it's going to be painful for the Galio, probably first laning phase, before you get that first back off. But after that, things should be pretty easy for you. You should be able to kind of just ignore the Akali, just instant clear waves and look for ults off onto the side. And I definitely like the Thresh pickup too, because you're right, it's not that it's not going to be that same level of empowerment like a Yumi, but being able to kind of just whisk Zeri away from danger. If she does end up getting hit by a Nautilus ult, for example, is always going to be a really good feature of this bot lane.
Yeah, curious to see how that's going to work out with that pickup, but there still is a little bit of nuance that we have to take a look at here. Speaking of which, in the jungle, as the asset worked, let's go. It worked. Let's go, stream. In the jungle, we've got the Lee Sin versus the Hecarim here. Brings a whole new spin on things in a lot of ways, because Hecarim's sort of been that sort of anti-jungle in a lot of ways. It takes a lot of junglers out of the meta in a lot of ways, but Lee Sin always ends up sticking around whenever there's a Hecarim, because they can sort of go toe-to-toe in a sense.
Yeah, I think Lee Sin is one of those junglers that Riot could remove, all of his damage and people would still be playing him. That was like the joke back in the day for Thresh, but it's relevant for Lee Sin these days too, because he's become such a mainstay over the years that there's so many people who have played him at least to a level of comfort, being able to just, okay, I've got a blind pick a jungler, who am I going to pick? I'll pick the Lee Sin. Even if they tear me down, I'll always have that kick. I'll always be able to look for the insect. On top of the fact that he feels good to play. Being able to make plays, to be aggressive, is always a great a great aspect of any champion pick. And so that on top of just his general play style is always going to keep him in the jungle at least somewhat.
Yeah, and actually, interestingly enough, Witoted taking the Akali instead of the Riven here. Does that mean we're going to get Riven mid lane against the Galio?
Hey, that is a season. What was it? I think it was a season 3 special from Faker. It was usually only used into something like a Zed, but I can definitely see it being pulled into a Galio.
It would be interesting, but in that sense, we have to take a look at what the matchup means now. If you have the Akali versus the Fiora, Tygoon doesn't really have anything good to repose on the Akali apart from that R2 in a lot of ways. So what does that end up meaning in terms of this matchup?
Yeah, it's definitely going to reduce that the favorability of Fiora in the matchup. I definitely think that this is still winnable, especially if you're able to get a really good level 1 trade with your passive. And now where the matchup was previously super focused on that riposte, it's now going to be a lot more focused on that 1v1 or that passive from Fiora, and seeing how much free hits and how much RNG she gets really to get those free hits on her passive.
Yeah, it's going to be a curious situation nonetheless to sort of solve where a lot of this damage is going to come from, because Riven it's a very snowbally champion in a lot of ways. Same as Akali, same as Lee Sin. A lot of your damage in this game is predicated around the fact that you need to get ahead. So what's their avenue to getting ahead in this game?
I mean, it's a curious one, because you do have the Nautilus on the bot side with the Kog'Maw, which does lend yourself a little more to that focusing on the bot side of your Hecarim. However, like you said, Fiora is a champion that does well if she's able to snowball. So you kind of do want to put some focus up on the top side as well. However, I really do think that if you're Hecarim, you honestly might just try to dogpile on this bot side alongside the Galio, um, and try to put the Zeri down, try to get the Kog'Maw going, because personally, I view Fiora as one of those champions that at the end of the day, yeah, it sucks, of course, if you're gonna go behind, as any champion really. But I do view Fiora in the same, tier, the same clump of champions as a Yasuo, as a Yone, as these as a Jinx. You know, these champions who, if you even if you put them behind early, is it going to matter all that much once you get those 2-3 items? Regardless, you know, you just need those items, and you're going to be back in no matter if you're 0-10 or if you're 5-0. So I think Fiora is able to do well enough on this top side by herself. I don't think that she should get pub stomped at all. I definitely think that this is a competitive lane, and at the very worst, I think that Fiora should be able to kind of, go down, maybe 10 CS, 15 CS at the most, kind of thing. So I think Hecarim should really try to put that gaze on the bot side alongside base to win, and try to just camp this Kog'Maw and give them all the advantages they need.
For sure. And just straight up before we head to break here, who's your prediction for game one? Who's winning game one here?
You know what? I'm gonna go Team Ishtar. We're gonna go full underdog today.
Going full underdog is what Haji is saying here. Of course, we'll find out if Barbarous Fanclub are able to lay waste to Team Ishtar here, or if it will be Team Ishtar potentially striking back with their well-rounded composition here. But we're going to head to the spec delay break here, but don't go anywhere. When we're back, we're going to have game one between Barbarous Fanclub and Team Ishtar here on Black Switch League. And welcome back, everyone, to Black Twitch League action here between Barber's Fan Club and Team Ishtar. RareAdam and I'm Haji on the cast here today, and here we go into game one. This game, a couple of really interesting pickups here. Riven in the mid lane here against the Galio. We've got the Kog'Maw coming out for Frostbite here. Not a champion that we see too often in the meta, but thus far, level 1, nothing too crazy going to be going down.
Yeah, no, nothing too crazy. It's really interesting to see. We got double Ignite on the side of Barber's Fan Club and double a TP on the side of Team Ishtar. So it's going to be really interesting to see if Barber's Fan Club are able to get leads on the early game with these Ignites, or if we even see Ishtar kind of getting some better map plays with the double Ignite. I'm always a fan of seeing champions like Riven and Kog'Maw, as we don't see them a lot, as you mentioned.
Yeah, we don't see them too much because Riven especially, it's a champion that mostly just played by people who are super confident on one tricks, Riven fanatics, one could say. We see them a lot in high elo because there's a lot of famous Riven players, but in more organized play, it can be a little bit more difficult as Tygoon is opting to go for violence here, just fighting this Akali way in front of the wave here, not even taking any minion aggro from it, but Anai in the mid lane doing the exact same to face to the wind here. So Atoted already on the back foot in this lane as Tygoon goes to town. Yeah, and this is exactly what I wanted to see out of Tygoon. Obviously Tygoon does know this matchup most likely. And I love seeing the level 1 pressure because Akali can't do anything. She's just going to Q you and then kind of just try to walk away. And you're just going to keep wailing on her because you have a better autos and a passive that's going to suit you, really well. Yeah, Tygoon just going to go forward with that flash. The last auto going to end up being enough as in that lane, as you said, knows how to play that matchup, ends up getting first blood very early on. Yeah, Tygoon got RNG God right there on his side with that passive lineup was just immaculate for Tygoon, being able to QW it just right in the face and followed up with the flash kill, like you said. Really insane. really good looking from them to capitalize on that passive. Yeah, and of note, as you can see, it's going to be the boots and the longsword picked up, but in the mid lane here, and I trying to take advantage of that matchup as well. Has the Ignite, not going to pop it quite yet, but thus far, it's a tale of two lanes in a lot of ways. Fiora getting the better of that early matchup into the Akali, whereas in the mid lane, Riven really going to town on Face of the Wind on this Galio here. And in the bottom lane, nothing's happening because that's what happens when you have 2 scaling 80 carries. But never mind, as Rainbow Tail's going to land the hook, and I going to be able to escape from that gank as Bio does show up. Isn't able to see anything because they are playing Lee Sin, and Lee Sin is blind, but actually will find the Resonating Strike over the wall onto Viperto. Bio's still waiting. Gonna actually get flash predicted there by Face to the Wind. Able to land that Justice Punch, but Bio is going to be able to get out of there with the safeguard, and looked a little bit dicey there. Bio going very aggressively forward, but is able to get out alive by the skin of their teeth. Yeah, definitely. With Toted gonna meet possibly Tygoon here. No, Tygoon's gonna walk. Oh. Yeah, and I actually just gonna pick up a solo kill in that mid lane, so the Ignite ends up paying off on one of these lanes here as they are able to reply with a kill of their own. Really good hook, though, from Rainbow Tails to cancel out Chicken the Wings, pull on to Pixel Wolf as they are able to stay relatively safe in this lane. Thus far, CS is pretty even as well, but Rainbow Tails has found a couple of hooks here. Haven't really led to much, but thus far, this Thresh and this Nautilus haven't really been able to find the engage opportunities, and let alone the 80 carries don't have the damage to back that up quite yet either. Yeah, it's just going to be kind of it seems like it's looking like it's just a farm fest here on the bot lane currently. Not for lack of trying, as we did see, as there was a hook. Rainbow Tails did try to fling out their bot, but overall, pretty passive bot lane. Not too bad for either sides. 5 CS deficit, not the biggest thing in the world. Yeah, 5 CS deficit, especially on a Kog'Maw, you're fine with that. And Zeri does have some cheesy early game damage as well, especially with the, her burst fire as well. She does end up getting a decent amount of damage just by virtue of like the last couple of bullets hitting a champion behind a minion after it gets taken down or something along those lines. Like, there is ways that Pixel Wolf can do damage that sort of just comes out of nowhere against the likes of someone like Frostbite. But up on this top side of the map here, actually in the mid lane as well, just a lot of action, a lot of skirmishing, but not a whole lot of kills thus far, despite, first blood coming at level 1 there, and despite Tygoon having a massive CS advantage and gold lead on that top side. It's been relatively a tame affair.
Yeah, just a trading of kills, top lane versus mid lane. Although face to the wind is a little bit better off with that CS. And once they hit 6, I definitely think that they'll probably be trying to get out of this lane as soon as possible.
Makes sense. And of note, we see the tier come through for the Fiora. We see the dagger as well. This could mean a variety of different options here. We've seen some different Fiora builds come through. Of note, big Fiora builds recently. Gore Drinker, as always, has been quite good. Stridebreaker as well has started to rise in prominence as well. Of note, in Proving Grounds, General Sniper played Fiora Divine Thunderer. This seems to be none of the above coming through from Tygoon. What are we expecting to see in terms of builds now?
I mean, I'd love to see a Triforce. The tier is really a surprise. I don't think I've seen a Muramana Fiora just yet, but it makes sense with that Q being a single hit ability. It'll be really interesting to see if we do see that transform into a tier. And I always love to see a Triforce. So could be a big fan there as we see a possible.
Yeah, Watoda's in a little bit of trouble. Has the perfect execution to potentially get out of there. Looking for the outplay. Good riposte from Tygoon. I think it might have been a little bit late, but Vaperto will be able to escape. So despite a little bit of a dicey situation for Watoda, is able to survive and get the wave pushed in. And this might actually equalize out the gold in a lot of ways for this Akali because she had such a tough time. She's able to push in this wave, get it to crash. And Fiora's not really in a place where she can walk up to kill this wave. Although Grand Challenge gonna come down. Watoda gets the empowered auto attack and takes down Tygoon.
Yeah, definitely a little unnecessarily aggressive from Tygoon. They were definitely feeling the pressure there, and kind of just gave up that kill when they didn't really need to. I would have really liked to see just like a back TP, reset the lane for yourself. You still had the TP advantage, because Watoda does not have TP, so. But a little bit greedy with that ultimate, thinking they could get something off there, and they do pay the price for it.
Yeah, a little bit unfortunate. It looked kind of silly. She was going forward to try and get her first vital, which probably would have given her enough healing, but Watoda just kind of autos her, and then she dies because she had the passive auto up. So gold equalized out on that top side of the map. Of what that means is that Barber's Fan Club, they now have a gold lead for themselves. Has equalized out on that top side. First Dragon did go over to Bio, who has just been farming up on this Lee Sin. Not a whole lot of action, especially after burning that flash early, but it's back up off of cooldown. They've got the Dragon's Rage now available. We'll see where Bio opts to go.
Yeah, and we see Yanai picking up the Scuttle top, and we might see even a gank up on this top side as Tygoon is still getting some more pain from the side of Watoda. But Ishtar was looking for something bot on their own. However, they weren't able to actually find anything. Frostbite is still just farming away, pushing this wave out, and we'll possibly get a decent lead after this back.
As of right now, Tygoon's just sitting on the garage sale of items, whereas Watoda here with the Sork Shoes gonna get you a lot of extra damage in that early game especially. You're just basically cutting through all of that base magic resist that any of these champions would have, but looks like we might get some skirmishing in this red side jungle here. Is gonna be going over the wall, and Nai tries to find the combo, hasn't found the Blade of the Exile quite yet, will find it onto Vaperto as Bio taking a decent chunk of damage, but face to the wind. Doesn't have that much to be able to counter as Watoda dealing a decent chunk to Tygoon under this tower. It's 2 more kills going over to Anai on this Riven in the mid lane. And we talked about how Barber's Fan Club are really meant to snowball this game if they want to win. They're doing exactly that.
Yeah, absolutely. Even Tygoon here up on the top side looking like they're going to be taken down here. Oh, but a really good riposte, but still going to be cleaned up.
Not enough at the end, but Glacial Augments galore on this bottom side of the map. Pixel Wolf trying to find some more damage. Looks like both AD carries just gonna trade for each other. This might be trouble for both of these supports now, as yeah, they just ended up trading each other's lives at the same moment. The burst fire and the last auto attack come out at the same time. Okay, yeah, that's how that works. Is Chicken the Wing still looking for more? I don't think either of these supports have enough damage to kill each other.
I'm always a fan of supportal combat, though. Watching them just wail at each other.
Yeah, they wail at each other and then no one dies. What ends up happening is the junglers come down and they ruin the honorable 1v1. And yeah, so regardless, it's going to just be a little bit of a tame affair for now. Of note, Rainbow Tails is pushing this bot lane. Interesting strategy considering that Frostbite is going to be the first one back to lane, but we'll see what this means for the rest of this game. As right now, Barbarous Fanclub, they've got themselves a 2,200 gold lead as hooks come down once again. This might just be the opposite affair as Pixel Wolf moving forward, looking for extra damage onto Chicken the Wing. Isn't able to find enough, but Frostbite now countering back is able to find that Bio Arcane Barrage with the last hit and picks up a double kill. So Team Ishtar able to strike back on that bottom side of the map. We said pushing the wave was a little bit ambitious, and Chicken the Wing able to stay alive with must have been like 40 health.
Yeah, absolutely tragic from Pixel Wolf not able to get those last autos in on Chicken the Wing, and Frostbite doing really well to try to block it off as we see Tygoon.
Yeah,
really unfortunate spot.
Yeah, a rough spot to say the least. Bio did also get that grand challenge used against them. Face to the Wind, going to teleport up, but Anai using that Blade of the Exile on that top side of the map, able to get enough damage down onto the Fiora to allow Bio to walk in, pick up that kill with the Dragon's Rage. So they're still able to push forward these leads on the top side of the map, but this bottom lane, Frostbite and Chicken the Wing doing quite a good job of staying in it.
Yeah, Frostbite being able to pick up even a lead, really good from them, a 1K lead actually. So we might actually see this this Kog'Maw turn into a bit of a monster as the game goes on. Kog'Maw, to note, is one of those champions that does do substantial percent health damage. So, oof, a little unfortunate on that miss there. We might even see, you know, the tank Maw come out, the tankier version of this hyper carry, come out into these later fights against these double divers of Fiora and Akali.
Yeah, and I think with the percent health damage coming through from Frostbite, it does allow them to go for a little bit of a tankier build, especially when you've effectively got 4 damage dealers on the enemy team. You've got 4 dive champions if you include that Thresh as well, but on this bottom side, Depth Charge going to come down onto Pixel Wolf, but there's too much damage coming through from Frostbite. They're still poised, looking for more damages now, and I might have bitten off more than they can chew in this jungle. Still looking to turn this one around, though. Gale Force comes through. Vaperto going to come and join the play as well, and I staying alive for a really long time, able to turn it around, finds the kill onto the Fiora, and I is still alive somehow, some way, will not go down. The Conqueror, the Gore Drinker, just a little bit too much as Anai shows up and shows off.
Yeah, that is absolutely tragic from the side of Team Ishtar. They were looking to try to give it over to Tygoon. They were trying to give over that shutdown gold, and unfortunately,
oh yeah,
he might just
yeah, Bio trying to go toe-to-toe with Face to the Wind, is going to look for that last resonating strike, is able to ring the bell, ding, able to pick that one up. Now Pixel Wolf in a little bit of an interesting situation under her tower, tanking up a decent amount of damage from both of these members, but Anai has shown up. You can't run away from the Riven. She's got 17 dashes. You won't be able to escape Anai as under the tower once again. Tygoon goes down as interesting choice from Frostbite, ends up trying to walk forward to find the kill, is not able to find it as just across the map. It's getting a little bit crazy for the side of Barbarous Fanclub. Kill after kill after kill after kill. Overall across the map, that was a 4-for-0.
Yeah, really unfortunate for this bot side of Team Ishtar. Really, they're their only shining spot on this team currently, and going down in that is obviously going to be really tragic for their chances of winning this game. Frostbite, of course, moving forward, trying to give that over to Pixel Wolf, not trying to give over extra assist gold or possible another kill to Anai. And yeah, this game is not going great for the Summit Team Ishtar. They're definitely not wanting this Fiora to be as behind as she is now, or honestly, this mid either, as far as behind as they are. However, Galio is gonna get that one item that makes Galio Galio. Got that Everfrost, does have the ultimate, so they're at an alright spot when it comes to scaling. And as we see Bio trying to break this freeze top.
Yeah, doing their best, but Tygoon is just not really appreciating all the damage that's coming down. It's just going to be a kill picked up by this Lee Sin once again, as Tygoon is going for the Trinity Force, but at this point, it's looking a little bit rough. They got first blood, and they've just died 6 times in a row since then.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate. We see Tygoon going in time and time again as they're trying to find really anything. It looks like they're just kind of getting desperate for something to put them back into this game fully. And they thought they caught Bio off there, but unfortunately Bio was able to kind of just one-shot him with that Dragon's Rage.
Yeah, the Dragon's Rage has been good from Bio thus far. We talk about how Lee Sin is usually seen as one of those early game champions. I mean, they are an early game champion, so they're not really seen as it. That's just what they are. But, staying relevant is a really big part of how Lee Sin is able to get into that late game. And thus far, they've done a good job of staying relevant here. 3-0-3. Nothing to really complain about from Bio, unless you just complain about the Lee Sin pick in general.
Yeah, Bio was able to get some stuff done early game, like you mentioned, and able to snowball themselves alongside this top side. And now it's going to be whether or not they're going to end this game before, a Lee Sin possibly falls off, or the rest of this Team Barber's team can't really do too much. Although that's not going to be for quite a while. And the beautiful thing is they picked up the first 2 dragons. Ishtar did not. So Ishtar is the one that's going to be on a clock here, trying to stop an Infernal Soul going over.
Yeah, in a lot of ways, the side of Team Ishtar are on a clock, because we mentioned how potent this early game snowball would be if it gets to the mid game. Riven is a champion that if you give her 5 kills, if you give her a 40 CS lead, she's really happy, because she's going to be able to one-shot this Fiora, this Hecarim, this Kog'Maw. There's not a lot of ways you can survive, but Bio taking a lot of damage here. Galliowalt going to come down. Bio has been away with 100 HP. Watoda on the side here, but so is Anai. This is a messy team fight, and it looks like Barber's Fanclub are winning out on this. 3 kills already picked up. This could be a 4th. But it won't be, as Face of the Wind going to be able to flash out of there. Tygoon, was on that top side of the map, trying to just get back into this game. But for the side of Barber's Fanclub, 3 more kills into their coffers, a 3rd dragon pushing them onto Soul Point, and some very happy members picking up more gold for themselves.
I may not look it with all the the people left on the side of Barber's Fanclub, but that fight was a lot closer than it had any right to be, or at least than you would expect. Really, it came down to the fact that, unfortunately for Frostbite, they were stuck inside of this column. They were not able to get out, and they were just kind of getting jumped on from all sides. And they did end up going down way faster than you would ideally want from your Kog'Maw. You're not able to play that front to back. They kind of had to try to play a circle around Frostbite and try to keep him safe, but they just weren't able to. And they went down, and so did the rest of Team Ishtar with them.
Yeah, and Bio just moving forward aggressively, looking for more. The Dragon's Rage kick comes out a little bit late, but I don't know if Face of the Wind gets out of that one. Bio gonna expend that flash at the end to make sure they're able to secure that kill. But yeah, this gold lead, it doesn't actually seem as big as it feels. It's only 6,500 gold. It feels like it's more, because you look at the kill score, it's mostly just due to those objective bounties and some of the shutdown kills they were able to pick up that they're able to get back into this, but it's still looking really rough for the side of Team Ishtar here. What's their avenue back into this game, Haji?
I mean, really, it just comes down to whether or not they can pick some of these shutdowns off, like you mentioned, whether it's objective bounties, whether it's a specific bounty. If you're able to pick up a Riven and get that extra 650 off a kill, that's always going to be awesome for you. You're going to be able, if you can get that onto your key targets, your Fiora or your Kog'Maw, you're going to be able to get some serious gold into their pockets, and hopefully, get themselves back in the game, as they're looking to do right now with this Akali.
Yeah, and Akali gonna try and get out of this one. Gonna need the shutdown going over to Chicken the Wing, though. Bio going to get the kick out, as the Dark Passage from Rainbow Tales is able to save the kill on to, or save Lee Sin's life, sorry, but Watoda's still gonna go down there. Kill does go over to the Nautilus, not the best target, but it's a shutdown nonetheless.
Yeah, they were able to get the shutdown, but like you mentioned, it's on top of the Nautilus, so it's kind of wasted. You're able to pick up the 650. you know, or the 950 total. But you know, the vast majority of that goes to the Nautilus. So is it going to make that big of a dent? Is it going to matter that much? You know, you lower your gold deficit by almost 1,000, but it's almost entirely on top of your support who's not going to be able to do too much with it.
Yeah, and now Anai is just playing distraction as the side of Barber's Fan Club, looking for a 20-minute, 30-second Baron here. They've got Pixel Wolf on this Zeri, 2 items complete. You've got Bio, 2 items complete. You've got Rainbow Tails. Yeah, they're there, and Anai, and just playing, being annoying, to say the least, as Vaperto now going to get caught out here. Anai still sort of playing Guardian of the Baron here, but here comes the play in from Vaperto. He's able to steal it away, able to find a smite, will go down for their efforts, and the fight may still go the way of Barber's Fan Club, but it's the Baron stolen away by the Hecarim. It's 2 kills. Scratch that. Could be more at this point. Frostbite forced to flash away. Looks like that will be all that they're able to get. For, oh, never mind. Bio's just still going in deep here. And not able to jump over that wall as well. We're toted over the wall. Pixel Wolf next to go over the wall. It is a shutdown picked up by Frostbite here, but they will get taken down as well. The Baron is taken by the Hecarim, but it's 4 kills going back over to the side of Barber's Fan Club as they're finally able to crack the base. The only one with Baron left on the side of Team Ishtar is that Fiora, who's split pushing in that bot lane.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't lose here either, you kind of take those. If you're the side of Team Ishtar, being able to pick up not just the Baron and the objective bounty on top of that, but on top of that, you get another bounty from Kog'Maw, who takes it off of the Lee Sin, so they get an extra 450 from that kill, and then another 400 gold bounty from the bot tower that Tygoon was able to pick up. So, I mean, like I said, if you're Ishtar, you take those. That's an immensely good trade from you. And on top of that, you take Baron off the map for this amount of time.
Yes, and of note, looking at Tygoon's build here, Stridebreaker, Manamune. It isn't the Trinity Force that we were talking about. It is the Stridebreaker that we briefly mentioned. It's interesting because there's no Sheen, but that is usually what you see out of Gore Drinker Fiora, which is slightly more prevalent, I want to say. What's your opinion on this build from the Fiora? Is it going to be able to accomplish enough for the side of Team Ishtar, who, of note, are only down 4,500 gold?
Yeah, I mean, it could come down to the fact that really they were feeling a little bit of the pressure as this is not the team fight start that they necessarily need.
Yeah, it is.
They could have
5v5 right now.
Yeah, this is going to be kind of the game deciding team fight. If Ishtar's able to pull it out, then, you know, amazingly for them, they're going to be able to pull themselves back into this game. But if Barber's able to finish this one, they might just end the game afterwards. As you can see in the mid lane, they're kind of just trying to waste time.
Yeah.
Let the minions pile up.
They're perfectly fine stalling, but the hook comes down onto Tygoon. Here comes the play into the middle. Face of the wind, going to use that hero's entrance with Toted. Going to get knocked up, but Anai is dominating. It's going to be the shutdown, though. Picked up by Tygoon here. This fight not going too badly, though. It's starting to go for the worst as with Toted able to find the kill onto Tygoon. You lose Anai, but Pixel Wolf going at a million miles a minute there on this Zeri is able to effectively zone out this Hecarim, and Bio flashed over the wall, looking for more, looking to try and take down this bait with Toted is here as well. Bio is still looking for more, but this first Nexus Tower is under fire. The Hecarim hasn't been able to reset quite yet. That's going to be the first Nexus Tower picked up. Here comes Vaperto, trying to find anyone, anything at this point. Face to the wind, taking a lot of damage, staying alive until they're taken down by Toted, able to find another kill for themselves. But they have stalled out enough time for Frostbite to be able to respawn. Rainbow Tails now under threat. Lots of damage coming down from Frostbite as that's going to be another kill picked up. And despite that Nexus Tower going down somehow, never mind. It's going to be Infernal Soul picked up by the side of Team Ishtar. Pixel Wolf, though, going to go down. Tygoon trying to find the play. He's not going to be able to find enough damage. This has just been one long skirmish for the last little bit. Watoda's going into that backline here. Has a little bit of damage. Actually, a lot of damage there. Will get taken down once again by Frostbite. Picking up another shutdown, but now Anai has respawned. Found the double kill here. Vaperto's running for the hills. Bio looking for that resonating strike, looking to ring the bell once again. Anai, though, gonna try and find the angle over the wall. Vaperto gonna find a cheeky little back there, but despite the gold lead still only being 5,000 gold, Barber's Fan Club are able to get the Infernal Soul, and that is worth a lot more than what gold can tell.
Yeah, and this might just be the dagger at the end of this game. Able to pick up that Infernal Soul, able to pick up a bunch of kills. It's just it's not what you want if you're Team Ishtar, and really unfortunate for them because at the start of that fight it looked like it could be not too bad, but they just they're not able to peel Frostbite well enough. They're not able to keep an eye or with toted off of them, and in the end they just go down a little too soon as Anai traded their life for them. But at the moment, Frostbite's the only one who can actually do anything in these fights.
Frostbite has 3 items. Frostbite is fed, but is it enough? That is the main thing to keep in mind. But Chicken the Win actually going to get kicked back into the enemy team.
Big.
Lots of damage coming through from Frostbite, though, as the shutdown comes down. The Kog'Maw picks up a double kill, and Nai unable to find anyone there. And Team Ishtar, they're still sticking around. They're looking rather stubborn here. They do not want to give up this game 1. And Frostbite is just keeping them somehow, some way in this game. He's dragging his team by their hair, kicking and screaming to stay in this game.
Yeah, and the big thing there actually was Face to Win, able to pick up the multi-man ultimate. You can see in a lot of these fights that has not gone their side or their way. That ultimate's only picked up, one person at most. This is the first time that I've seen that he was able to pick up more than just one person. And they were able to win it pretty decidedly because that gives so much extra time and room for Frostbite to just keep autoing, especially after they already wasted so much just trying to pick off Chicken the Wing.
And looking at the gold right now, you can see Frostbite has a 3,500 gold lead over Pixel Wolf right now. They are the richest player in this game. And this is on Team Ishtar, who have been down this entire game. It is all on Frostbite. They need to keep this Kog'Maw safe. That is their goal. Whereas, on the flip side, you've got a 3-item Riven, a 3-item Lee Sin, a 3-item Zeri, a 2.5, soon-to-be 3-item Akali that are trying to kill this one target, and they're going to find Vaperto, so that's one of their tanks down, but Frostbite at the back here, free-firing, and Nai's taking a lot of damage, and Nai's going to get taken down, a double kill picked up by Frostbite. Frostbite's cutting this out so perfectly. They found themselves 2 kills. They have been hooked, though, but this fight still may go the way of Team Ishtar. They're able to find the key fight. It's a 5-for-2 for Team Ishtar, and they're giving Barbar's fan club a real scare here. They're going to try and pick up some more of these objective bounties, and this game is far from over, Haji.
You cannot be using all of your kits on a single champion that is not Frostbite. If you're using so much of your kits on the 1-item Hecarim, then you are not doing the right thing. You are wasting so much of your own ability, you are taking all the gold that you have and just flushing it down the toilet. As you're gonna able to get up so much gold from all of these turrets on the side of Team Ishtar. And it's even, by the way. Gold's even.
This game is back to even. Of note, objective bounties are still available for the side of Team Ishtar. Those may fall away soon, but yes, this is the thing about like they've got champion bounties. They've also got objective bounties. This is the thing about objectives is that dragons are overvalued. Dragons are overvalued 100%.
Well, the unfortunate thing is that I believe there's a bit of a timer too. Like it doesn't flip over the moment you get back into standing. It takes a little bit.
It's a 5-second timer.
Oh, really?
So at this point, it's just the 4 dragons that decide.
Yeah, the soul.
Yeah, the soul. That is what is predicating this entire objective bounty issue right now, and this is something that we've seen a lot in competitive play as well in the highest level. Objective bounties suck. As Pixel Wolf gonna have a little bit of internet issue there. It looks like we're gonna go without having a pause, or maybe we just went right through that pause as well. But looking at this, the side of Team Ishtar, they've got, I'm waiting for them to get the gold lead and still have objective bounties, because that's the funniest thing. You can see that it's baffling.
Yeah, this is it's not great. It's really, really unfortunate for the side of Team Barbar's fan club. And they're starting to feel there's the scaling kind of coming up. You actually, this is really strange, but there's a gold lead for Fiora. There's a gold lead. Oh my God, there's a huge gold lead for Bio though. But that's not gonna matter too much because it's at least in. You got a gold lead over the Galio, but the Galio is just there for the ultimate.
Yeah, effectively,
Really?
there's gold leads on the people who matter, which is this Fiora and this Kog'Maw right now. This Kog'Maw has just been such a massive threat, and now with the Elder Dragon spawning, it does not matter if you have Soul plus Elder. It just matters if you have Elder. Elder is what is going to be that major source of damage. It effectively makes everyone have 80% health, 75% health, and right now it has been started up. And Nye trying to find a flank on the side. Bio though, able to find a big kick onto Frostbite, but Frostbite still so tanky, stunned up. It's taking so much damage, but it's still alive for such a long time. Fiora though, able to deal a decent amount of damage. It's gonna be with Toad turning this around. Found 2 already, and Nye though is able to find the damage. It's a triple kill picked up by the Akali Tygoon, running for the hills. Will not be able to, or actually will be able to stay alive as Tygoon, but somehow, some way, Watoted comes out from the woodwork, able to find a triple kill. They're going to be able to shut down that Kog'Maw. They get their gold lead back, and they're going to get this Elder Dragon unless Tygoon has anything to say about it. Tygoon teleported into 5 members. Watoted, actually taking a decent amount of damage. Will get taken down at the end of it. So, my goodness, that fight turned around real quick this game. We were talking about Team Ishtar. They've got the scaling, but they get flanked on. Frostbite takes too much damage, and that's going to be Elder Dragon.
Yeah, Tygoon going down, that's Elder Dragon, and it could possibly be a Baron as well. If Tygoon doesn't go down there, I actually think that Ishtar is able to pick up a Baron, and they still have, they still have bounty gold, so that would have been an extra, extra 500 gold on top of the 2K you get from it regularly. Really, really unfortunate TP from Tygoon there, but Bio able to get the miracle kick, and this is why junglers like Lee Sin. You feel like, hey, I'll get the insect in there. I'll find an insect. I will find one at least somewhere. I'm a mid laner, and I loved Lee Sin meta purely because of that. So
yeah. Just for the insect, right? It gives you that playmaking potential. You're able to find a pick on someone you have no right to get that pick on. And it's so hard to cleanse it out. You need QSS plus Flash every single time if you want to prevent that, or you need an Edge of Night, or you need a Spell Shield. And unfortunately for this Kog'Maw, they're full build. They can't afford to get any of those items unless they're selling one of their other items, which means they're losing out on damage, they're losing out on utility, they're losing out on something. And somehow, some way, the side of Barber's fan club, despite a massive mid-game scare, have secured themselves Elder, have secured themselves Baron. Their Elder is expiring, but they've got that purple worm, this time for real.
Yeah, it's actually, I'm actually kind of shocked that they didn't try to force with this Elder. They still have half of its timer left, but as you said, it's rapidly going away, and they're going to be left at just 25% left. And are they going to be able to actually make real use of it, or are they just going to be trying to bet on this Baron? Because the Baron is going to give you a lot less power than, removing 20% of the enemy's health bar will.
Yeah, and they still have another 30 seconds of it. They still got a little bit of time left on it. They're going to just try and run this down the mid lane here, pick up that middle inhibitor. They've got the wave. They've got Watoted pressuring on the side lane here. Tygoon now with that 4th item, Guardian Angel, can stay alive once. Don't think they can stay alive more than that, but this Zeri at this point as well, 4 completed items, has that Guardian Angel. These fights, you need to kill like 7 people on each side.
Yeah, really unfortunate for Ishtar, these GAs. And honestly, it might have been a possibly good angle for Frozen Bite here to pick up a GA themselves. But I definitely understand being reluctant to take away that Randuin's Omen. And lose that extra armor that you get from that versus this Riven.
And of note here, looking at how this game is playing out, Elder's gone. So they've only got the Baron. I believe Frostbite's going to have enough damage to stay alive here. Of note, interestingly enough, no Rudon's Hurricane came through this game, meaning there's no sort of spread that can come through from this Kog'Maw. But selling, trying to sell the boots. They're trying to sell the boots at this point. This is how late game we are.
Yeah, they were. I think they were looking to see how much gold that they would have, and if they were able to pick up another item. But it doesn't seem like they were, so they just replaced it back.
Yeah, not.
Yeah, this is. They're gonna look for the triple inhib here to see if they can set up a death push, but
the hook comes down onto Chick in the wing. That's a lot of damage onto your Nautilus. That's supposed to be your tank. That's supposed to be your front line, but it matters a lot less at this stage of the game. This is going
They're
to
gonna lose
be
it.
another tower taken. This should be the triple inhibitor, and Team Ishtar are on their last legs. They're going to have to defend this like the 300 Spartans. And it's not going to be enough. The kick going to come down onto Frostbite. That is your main member. The fight's still erupting, though. Tygoon trying to stay alive. Feist to the Wind is going to go down. Chicken the Wing going to go down. Tygoon into the Guardian Angel. And despite a very, very scary mid-game from the side of Barber's Fan Club, Team Ishtar are unable to find their way back into this game. And it's going to be Barber's Fan Club going up 1-0.
Yeah, we almost had it though. Team Ishtar almost was able to pick that up. Really unfortunate. I really feel like they had to fight for that last inhib. If they don't, if they don't fight it, they lose all protection, and they're just gonna get that triple inhib. Those double super minions. Every wave is just way too crushing, and yeah, they go down. Not because of the triple inhib, but definitely really unfortunate for them after that mid game fight back.
It was really scary. I think a lot of that was spearheaded by that Baron pickup from Viperito. Despite, not having a great game, let's just say it as it is, Viperito did not have fun that game despite picking up that Hecarim. They were able to get that Baron steal, which did lead to them getting a couple of those objective bounties, able to snowball this Kog'Maw a little bit. I think it just took a couple of those really scary fights to wisen up the side of Barber's Fan Club to get back into the game a little bit.
Yeah, definitely, and Bio specifically was a big part of that, being able to pick up some really big insects to be able to cement their win. Without those, Frostbite might have just been able to run away with the game.
Yeah, and we'll have to see what happens in game 2, though, as we're going to reset here, recharge just a little bit. But when we're back, we're going to see if Team Ishtar are finally able to drop the hammer on on Barber's Fan Club here, or if Barber's Fan Club are going to clean up that 2-0 and push Team Ishtar to 0-3 on the season. Don't go anywhere. We're going to be right back with more Back Twitch League